Hello and welcome, I'm Fiona. Welcome to my video. So today I knew that I was going to record and I think I've just about outdone myself for the number of ways you can find to procrastinate when you have to do something that you know you have to do. And so I figured the best conversation we could have today would be about the topic of procrastination. Now, this is something I am a particular expert in. In fact, at university, I had to do a prepared speech. I was doing a public relations major and a performing arts minor, really so that I had an excuse to run around without shoes on. And one of our tasks was to prepare a speech. It had to go for 5 minutes, and we had something like 3 weeks to do it. So naturally, the night before, I was still writing my speech, and of course I decided I could write it on only one topic that was most important to me, that I was most familiar with. That was procrastination. So the night before, my house was spotless. I had done every single thing I could do to prevent me from actually doing the thing that I had to do. And I wrote the speech the night before and that morning, and I delivered it and got a high distinction. So I am literally a straight A procrastinator. Or at least I was. I'm much improved these days. But I wanted to talk to you about what is procrastination. Now, I know that it is something that pretty well every single person in the world has either experienced or is lying to you about. Because procrastination is actually, in some cases, a survival instinct. What do I mean by that? Well, procrastination, in the research that I've done, in my own experiences, and in helping so many clients through procrastination, it seems to keep coming back to one core thing. It seems to keep coming back to a fear. And fear is a survival instinct. So the only time we know that it's time to procrastinate is when we are afraid of something. And it's usually the afraid of something we don't know. So my definition of procrastination is doing something where the outcome or the results are known, even if those results are uncomfortable, rather than risking doing something where the results are not known. So we would rather, what do they say, the better the devil you know. We would rather do something even if it's painful, uncomfortable, a waste of time, even if we know we're doing the wrong thing. We would rather do that thing than and guarantee the outcome that we're going to get, even if the outcome is getting yelled at, even if the outcome is more stress, even if the outcome is misery or fear or shame or embarrassment, rather than doing something risking an outcome we don't know. So sometimes the things we can procrastinate on could or have the potential to give us really amazing outcomes. You know, those things in life where you know that if you do this, it's going to lead you to get a better job. It's going to improve your relationship. It's going to improve your health. You know that there is amazing, so many possibilities. You've done all the reasons why you should succeed and what that's going to give you. And yet there's still the temptation to procrastinate. And this is why I say it's a survival instinct. Now, in life, we have things that are known to us, and those are considered safe. If we know the outcome, we can control and manage ourselves through that outcome. So they're technically safe. But our reptilian brains, our original brains, have evolved to prevent us from going near anything different. Same equals safety, different equals danger. And so this is what's going on. If you're about to embark on something new, therefore unfamiliar, your survival brain, your old reptilian brain, which is a little slower than a little faster than your logical brain, but a little less slower to catch up on the fact that we don't have saber-toothed tigers in this world. It's not actually literally life or death survival in many cases. But that part of your brain is still overriding your decisions. So if you're about to embark on something different, the original safety part of your brain says, danger, danger, and gives you a range of alternatives so that you don't have to go into danger. It kept us alive for thousands, millions of years. But nowadays, life is different. Our physical danger is probably the lowest it has ever been. The threat of physical danger for most people We live in a world, in a society, especially Western people, where physical danger is something that happens to us very, very rarely, and usually caused by not paying attention, rather than something that is an everyday thing. Okay, so our brains still think it's an everyday thing. So we have to keep up with that. We have to respect that it's a survival instinct, and then we can overcome it. So when you feel the need to procrastinate, recognize that it's a strategy and ask yourself, what is it that you are afraid of? For some people, or for everyone, it's leaving the comfort zone. For some people, it's going backwards. For some people, it's going forwards. For some people, it's a fear of failure, which is actually just a fear of judgment. And for other people, it's a fear of success, which is also just a fear of judgment. Because if we fail or succeed, then potentially we run the risk of not being accepted by our family, our tribe. And if we weren't accepted by our tribe, then we ran the risk of being ostracized. Literally, there are tribes and many, many stories of tribes where if you didn't fit in, you became dangerous to the tribe because everyone had to do the same thing to stay safe. So if you didn't fit into that tribal structure, you were ostracized, you were given the bone, you were literally, in many tribes, there was a ceremony done where the person would be declared dead and people would just stop seeing them. Even though they were physically still there, they would walk around as if they were dead to them. They would stop seeing them, and that person would have to fend for themselves, which back in the days of tigers and saber-toothed tigers, not easy. So being judged was literally a life or death risk when societies were forming. These days, our brains and our bodies are still responding in the same way. So whether it's being judged for failing according to your tribal rules, or whether it's being judged in succeeding and exceeding your society's status quo. Because sometimes, think about it, for example, if your tribe knows safety through running their own business, then you'll feel safe running your own business. But if your tribe is safe being an employee, working 9 to 5, and you begin to start running your own business, they can see that as a real threat to their survival. They can see that as a threat to your safety and could judge you. Okay? In Australia, we have this saying of being a tall poppy, and that simply means standing out from the pack. And if you stand out, then the pack could be in danger. Because you think about tribes of, say, zebras, where the whole point is that everybody blends together. So if one stands out, they can be seen. All right. So just really recognize that all of this fear tends to come from this fear of judgment. If you were judged as not worthy, not good enough, not belonging, then you weren't loved and you could potentially die. So it sounds a bit morbid, but if we recognize this and accept this, it makes it a lot easier these days to move on, to move forwards when we feel the need to procrastinate. So procrastinate was designed as a strategy to keep us average, to keep us the same as everybody else. For some people, it may seem very arrogant, but there are some very naturally talented, beautiful, fabulous people in the world. In fact, the secret is we are all talented, beautiful, and fabulous in our own unique way. The thing is, our uniqueness doesn't necessarily fit within tribal society rules of appropriateness. And if you've spent your whole life trying to fit into other people's rules and suppressing your uniqueness, one of the most effective ways to suppress your uniqueness and stay average is procrastination. Another example of me being a straight A procrastinator, in year 8, I got straight A's and 1 B for phys ed, but that's okay. But I got straight A's, and it was because I'd come to a new school. I'd had a lot of bullying in primary school. I'd been sick with chronic fatigue, and I'd finally thought, fresh start, I'm going to be able to shine. I'm going to be able to be my most successful again. And so first semester, year 8, new school, new high school, new friends, I got straight A's. Then, of course, as all good high schools, I got bullied. And I got bullied for getting those A's. So I made a decision to never get an A again. And I did it not through dropping the quality of my work, because unfortunately, or fortunately, however we look at it, it didn't matter what I do, I was actually smart enough to still get A's. I did it through procrastinating. I did it through always making sure my work was handed in just late enough to have just enough marks deducted that it would be a B or a C grade work. And I did this all through high school, all through university, and through many different areas of life. So it was literally a survival instinct. So don't be judged by peers, because it can be very lonely and very tough getting through high school without friends, as anyone who's been bullied will know. And so I stayed average. I made sure that I got C's. I procrastinated enough to become very average and acceptable. And I'm sure that if you've become a serial procrastinator throughout your life, and you'll find probably that at some stage you had a similar experience. Maybe not as extreme and obvious as that one, but you will have an experience where there came a choice between you just naturally bubbling along and being amazing and succeeding, or somebody else succeeding, and you chose that if you procrastinate, or if you run the whatever strategy you're running, overweight strategy, dyslexia, getting lost, there's so many different strategies that we can run that prevent us from shining. And so when it comes to our spiritual journey, procrastination is simply a very effective way of hiding our light. Because remember back in the days that if we shone, we could get judged and we could get killed. Literally there are examples of this over and over and over again. So procrastinating again is that form of safety. So respect procrastination for what it is. Respect that it is just you seeking safety. And really sit down and think about, if you're finding yourself procrastinating, take some time to answer the question, why don't you want to succeed? I know I'm meant to be a self-help guru and you're supposed to say, why do you want to succeed? And with a big enough why, the how will take care of itself. But sometimes it doesn't. Because sometimes we need to put as much focus into why you don't want to succeed. Who are you afraid of showing up? Who are you afraid of succeeding ahead of? Are you afraid of exceeding your parents' limits and then they can't keep you safe anymore? Are you afraid of being better than your brother who's meant to be the hero? Are you afraid of being better than your sister who's meant to be the golden girl? Are you afraid of being better than your boss and potentially getting fired because they can't handle it? All of these situations are true. And then start to take some time to think, okay, well, if you do get into that situation, how can you make it okay? What else can you choose to notice about yourself, about your family, about your colleagues? What else can you choose to notice about how you shining actually helps more than you suppressing? How can you find evidence that your success will allow their success, not your hiding? And it's that beautiful Marianne Williamson quote, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most scares us." Who are you? We ask ourselves, who am I to be talented, fabulous, and beautiful? Well, who are you not to be? Stop denying the world your uniqueness. Allow it to shine and find the people who love it, respect it, admire it, and want to be around it. And you'll find very quickly that procrastination will go away on its own. Because when you can connect with people that are as inspired by your uniqueness as you are by theirs, then life will just start to pick up speed. It is a wonderful place to be. I trust you will enjoy. I trust this has given you some guidance and some hope. Don't focus on trying to fix your procrastination. Focus on finding people who love you for your uniqueness. Create the community if you need to. Create the kingdom, because not many exist. You're welcome to join ours until you find your own. But do something that gets you around people that want you, love you at your best, not just at your worst. Until then, have a great day. Bye for now.